now, you grab 3 things and save 30% store wide, and you can also get this Aquatics Legend content pack, which is swimming motion capture motions for free on any order over 99. Not really much to do today in terms of promos, so I just wanted to give you guys a little heads up that we are recording this. So if you have to step away or you have to get some coffee or something like that, no worries. We're going to send you out a recording of this webinar at the end of the day here. And yeah, you'll get that along with a survey. We're going to send out a survey to you. So if you have any comments, any questions, anything you want to learn about more in the future, make sure you fill out that survey and you get a 10% discount in the content store, as always. And we're going to have a Q&A at the end of today's webinar. So after Solomon's live presentation, we're going to do a Q&A. So put your questions in the Q&A panel in Zoom there, and we'll get to those as soon as we can. With all that said, I think there's not much more for me to do. We're going to hand over the reins to Mr. Blue Alien, Solomon over here, and he's gonna give us a live demo. So we can go ahead and do that.
Okay, I'm excited.
Can you share your screen as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll do that. And I wanted to first, is it possible for everyone to see? Are you guys able to see my full character, the full screen? Yep. Okay.
Yep. Seems like a lot of people can't. Yeah.
All right. Good. All right. So please bear with me because I am streaming multiple things here. So if you see the lip sync note lining up with my voice, please bear with that. But today we're going to be doing what I am doing right now. So this character is a VTuber that I made inside of Character Creator 5. He set off in Daz Studio in the Daz 3D marketplace. And then I was able to bring him into CC5, added an HD profile, and then sent him to the Unreal Engine and was able to then stream live, right, like you see right now. And the beauty of this is that in the Unreal Engine, because it's real time, that's why I'm able to do this right now. Now, when you're streaming like maybe on YouTube or maybe on Facebook with your character like this, of course, the response is going to be so much better, you know. Right now, I'm just doing this as, I hope you don't, just bear with me if there's any lag whatsoever, because I'm running so many things in the background. So let me share my screen real quick. Entire screen with sound. Share, please let me know if you can see my screen. Okay. Good. All right. So let me show you the character inside of the Unreal Engine. And I don't know if you can see that, but if I press F11, this is the character right now in the Unreal Engine. And I can actually zoom out so you can see some of that. I have this character in here just as an example that your VTuber doesn't have to be an alien. It can actually be a custom character like this one. This is from my animated series, The Adventures of Nkoza and Nanja. But today we're going to talk to you as this alien. So one thing that I'm going to point out first is things that you're going to need before we start. One is you're going to need a Daz 3D character. It can be a character from any other place, but as long as this model is able to be converted into a CC3 plus character, everything will work fine. And this character is a Genesis 8 male model. So Genesis 8 and Genesis 9 characters are supported. So if you go to the Daz 3D marketplace, let me see if I can move this out of the way over here. And say, for example, you try to find some characters that look like creatures, but they're not Genesis models, it will not work. Please, whatever you do, make sure the character is a Genesis 8 or Genesis 9 male or female character that has been designed to look something like this, right? So this is the alien that we're going to be working with today. And I've used this character before, but I wanted to show you how to use him as a VTuber and dress him up as well. So let me close that. The next thing that you're going to need is OBS. So they have OBS for Windows, and you can download it from here. They also have it for Mac and Linux as well. So you're going to need OBS for sure, the most recent version. And you're going to need NVIDIA Broadcast app, right? So those are the three things that I think that will make it possible to do what I am doing right now. So as you can see right here, I have NVIDIA Broadcast running, and for the camera parts of it, when I click on the video, it's using OBS virtual camera, right? And that virtual camera is going from OBS over here, and it's taking the character, the viewport that you see in here, and you can see the character here. So the idea of a VTuber is for you to use this character as for you to comment on content, to review things. For example, right now, if you are on the broadcast website over here, if I were to move it out of the way and started scrolling, you can see it scrolling in the background. So the idea is for you to be able to use this character as a VTuber to comment on videos, to create content for maybe TikTok, for Facebook Live, for Instagram. And this window right here is coming from the Unreal Engine. So on the VTuber part over here, the reason that I'm starting with this is so you get like a sense of how this is all working. Then I'll get into the characters. So let me move this bar over here a little bit. So there's a virtual camera in OBS. Like if I stop virtual camera right now, you can see that it's not working. And when I turn it on, then it starts working. But under here, under the settings, if I click on that, let me see if I can go back over here. Oops. Okay. If I click on the settings over here, this pops up, and on the output type, I'm using a source as the source itself is going to be the game capture. So it's capturing the Unreal Engine screen in here. So if I go to the Unreal Engine right now and I press F11, so you see all these menus all around. If I press F11 and then go back to OBS Studio, you can see all those menus are gone right now. And that's what you want. You want your character to seem like you're in this environment and you're making your comments on the content. So over here, if we go back, you can see the character now filled up. And let me cancel that. I can move this window wherever I want and then continue playing. So if you're playing a video game in the background, you can have your character that you've made in CC5 working as a VTuber for you to comment on video, react to amazing dance videos out there. So now we can go to Daz 3D over here, Daz Studio. So this is the character. It's called Marvin HD. If I double click on him, I'm going to bring him into Daz Studio. And this is the model that you need to export out of Daz Studio as an FBX file together with the morphs or blend shapes that are then going to be used inside of CC5. And if I go to CC5 while that is loading, that's the character creator. CC5 is over here. So this is a model that I've already assembled. And press the J key to come back to the front. And you can see he has an outfit right here, right? But this character started off as a Daz 3D character over here. So this is him. And what you need to do is select the character, make sure Marvin is selected over here in HD. And there are two things that you need to do is in the parameters tab over here in mesh resolution, make sure you export as subdivision level 1. It's important to do that for the first step. And then when you want to export the detail, like all the details like that are in the neck and the body, then you export as subdivision 2 as an OBJ. So first export as an FBX for the full character, and then increase the sub D to like 2, and then export as an OBJ. So I'll select Marvin over here, go to File, Export, and then just give it a name. So for example, just call it VTuber 01, save. And then in the export sections over here, we want to export as an FBX. So this is an OBJ. That's when you're exporting for the the sub-D level. So let me cancel that. Let me try again. File, export, and then select FBX down here. And we're just going to call it again VTuber 01. And put it in a place where you can easily find it. And I'm using FBX 2012 binary. And I'm including the figure. I'm including any props that might be. Right now, he doesn't have any props. And the thumbnail is kind of not, the character really doesn't have that hair or even that outfit. It's just like this naked alien. Yeah. So anyway, include subdivision data. So what I would suggest is maybe take a screen grab of the settings that you see right here and follow that when you're exporting to an FBX format. And I'm also embedding the textures over here and collecting the textures. There's a reason why I do that, because I want to have a reference to see what the files are that are assigned to the different parts of the body. And then click accept. And depending on the speed of your computer, this might take a little bit of time or just fly by just like that. So we finished exporting that. And then you need to export the sub-D level. Right now it was 1, so export to sub-D 2. And then go to File, Export. And this time we select the same name over here, but switch it to OBJ. And we're going to call that the same name so that it's easier to find. Export. And I use the Maya 1 unit equals to 1 centimeter setting over here. There are other settings down below. There's nothing here for iClone right now. So I'm going by Maya. That's the one that I've used in the past. And click accept. So again, this is going to fly by like that. So you now have 2 files that you've exported out of Daz Studio. And again, remember, the character needs to be a Genesis 8 or Genesis 9 model. You don't expect to send like a lion that was not based on a Genesis model and expect that to work. So this model was created using a Genesis 8 model. So if I go back over here and we go to Marvin, again, I'm just reiterating this, please, guys, in case you get stuck. That could be the reason. Just focus on the character needs to be Genesis 8 or Genesis 9. Okay, so we are pretty much done with Daz Studio at this point. We don't need to do anything else unless if you want to dress up Marvin, the alien character, with some clothing, because that clothing will also come through into CC5 if you send it. But for now, because I want to use some CC5 clothing, which is what I used with the one that you're seeing in the video, I want to be able to dress the character in Character Creator 5. So for now, I'll just minimize this. So here's our character. I'm going to create a new scene, new project, actually. New project. And we're going to go to the transformer tool over here, drop down, and make sure you select CC3+. Okay, click on that. And then we're going to find the FBX file, the VTuber, the one that we exported from Daz Studio, and open. And again, depending on the speed of your computer, this part here, and we have an hour in this webinar, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to squeeze in some of the processes. If not, I'll just skip them so I can show you the end result of it. So please select advanced for this, because with this, you can bake the texture of this character, and then you can also import the high poly version, which is the OBJ that we exported with the sub-D level of 2, which is the OBJ right here. So open that. And so this is going to bring in all the detail that we saw inside of Daz Studio. So if we go back over here, so the neck, if we go to look closer at the character, all the detailing right in there, that's because of the sub-D versions that you see over here, right? So if you turn off the sub-D, that definition is lost. But when you increase, like the higher you go, the more you're able to add all those sub-D levels. So let me hope it doesn't crash. Please don't crash on me. Okay. A second there, I was like, oh no, it's gonna, okay. So, but that's the reason I exported that OBJ, is that you want that definition. And the cool thing is that in CC5, they updated the transformer tool to support this level of detail. Before we could only get like maybe this level, and you really couldn't see all the detailing that was in Daz Studio. So they fixed that, and thank you so much, Relusion, for that. So that's why we put it over here. And then for the back maximum texture size, I'm going to select, I really usually select 496 because most of my animations are for film. So the VTuber usually is for, you're trying to use the power of what your system is offering you. But if you plan to use the VTuber in a film setting as well, right? Because you can do that as well, then I recommend you export as 4096. But if you are not, if you're just doing like streaming, then 2048 would work as well. Okay. Now this part right here, the texture profile, makes it possible for you to, let me go back to Daz. I hope I didn't close it. Did I? Okay, there it is. So if I go to surfaces over here and go to Marvin HD and go to, for example, maybe the skin, and let's see the base over here. So you're going to see there are multiple textures in here. You have like the specular weight, translucency, diffuse map, the normal maps, all of those maps. Initially, when you go to character creator, they don't come in. You only get the diffuse at most, right? So that's why this texture profile is so important. And that texture profile, this one is probably going to require an in-depth tutorial separate from this. But when I load that texture profile, it makes it possible for this system or the Transformer 2 to import all the textures that are linked in the Daz character. So for now, I'm just going to leave it empty, and I'm going to press OK over here. Again, this is where the power of your system is going to come into play. If your system is powerful, this is going to move by real quick. And so right now, I don't know if I can show you my system settings, but I don't want to crash anything. So let me just let this so it's actually baking the textures and applying the subdivision levels as well from the OBJ file. So let's give it a chance. And it will show you how many textures it's baking. So 78 textures. The reason it's 78 textures is because in Daz Studio, this character has multiple body parts. And if you look over here, you can see different like texture maps for the face, the eye socket, the ears, cornea, arms, legs, lips, pupils. So the multiple, images that are in this setting right here. So that's why when you go to character creator, that's what it's going through and actually baking all of those. So let me minimize this. So we are at 14 out of 78 textures. So while that is doing that, let me actually go to iClone over here so I can share some things as well. So right now, what you're seeing in the Unreal Engine, let's go back over here. So this character right now is streaming, well, it's live inside of the Unreal Engine, and it has like head movement like that because of the new MetaHuman animator, which is making it possible for us to do live streaming as well. So under the window over here in virtual production, if I bring up live link, you can see the face right now, right? So I want to walk you through the whole process of how I was able to link up the head so you can actually see, all of that. And this is not ARKit. ARKit is over here. This is what we used to use for live streaming. But MetaHuman Animator now supports live streaming inside of the Unreal Engine 5.6 and later. So 5.7 is already out. So some of these tools are already in 5.7, right? Right now I'm using 5.6, which is a little bit more stable, but that's what you see right here, okay? So I'm gonna wait, I was gonna see once the character is done, so I can walk you through the whole process after I rig up the character, because you need to apply several steps to this character after you import it so that it can actually work like that. So you can use a webcam, which is what is attached right here, the 1080p Pro Stream. My recommendation is try to find something that has 60 frames per second. So this webcam that I'm using is 30 frames per second. And if I click on the VTuber solo right here, you can actually see I'm getting 2340 every now and then, right? And make sure that the camera is close to you as you're talking, because if you're far away, you can actually see it says subject too far from camera. So make sure you're close to the camera. That's how it will be able to track your character really well. And if I go back this way, you can see the mouse starting to vibrate. But as I get closer, there's more accuracy in that. All right, so let me minimize that. Let's go back and see. All right, character is ready. So that baking part of it, that's why you see the character is in there. And the OBJ that we exported from Daz Studio gave us the detail that you see right there. So if I select this character and turn off the subdivision over here, you can see all the detail is gone. But if I increase the subdivision over here, 1 to subdivision 2, and then the detail comes back. So that's what you want, is that you want your character to retain all the detail that you saw when you went to this scene right here. So all that detailing in there, you want to retain that. And that is made possible by exporting first the FBX file and then an OBJ with the subdivision level set to 2. So I hope that is clear. So we have our character now in here, and it's time to make him look a little bit better. Because right now he looks a little dry, like a dry alien. Maybe he got dry on his way to Earth, right? So one thing that I love doing is this is where you give your character like personality. Because if you're going to live stream, right? If you're going to comment on videos on video games, you want your audience to respond, to have like an emotional connection to your character. This character, imagine if he didn't have glasses, he'll have a different vibe to him, right? He doesn't look really wise. But because now I have glasses, I can talk like an alien. Hi, humans, kind of thing like that. So that's what is cool about it, is that you need to give your character a personality, maybe like a backstory. And that's why the outfit comes in as well. So inside of character creator over here, right now, because it's a little bit dry, we're going to go to, let me go to the skin, activates editor over here. This is skin gen, which makes it possible for you to add some nice glossiness, improve like scarring and things like that, tattoos. And now we are trying to make the character a little bit more fun. And that's why I love Character Creator 5, my goodness. So right now, if I select the skin base over here, and let me see if I can scale the window a little bit more and move it over here. So what I need to do is go all the way down, scroll, note color black, go to color. Those are the lips. Make sure you match the lips, by the way. So I need to go to let's see, roughness over here. So up at the top, there's color ID black on the head. If you scroll down, there's going to be roughness over here. So if I increase the roughness and adjust the contrast over here as well, and then the metallic, make it a little bit more metallic. So you can play with these settings until you get something a little bit more interesting. All right. So an alien, that is not too dry. We want the alien to have a little bit of moisture in their skin. So just maybe around there, and then you can adjust the contrast as well and make him like that. So maybe he's come from a planet that is wet. But again, the reason I'm doing this is because in the Unreal Engine, you can see how the light, as I turn my head, you can see the little specularity over here and there. And you know what's really neat is because right now I'm using downtown, but if I choose a different lighting setup, you can actually see the glossiness and specularity of this in here. So let me zoom in a little closer so you can see that. And even the teeth. Yeah. So I don't know if any of you were at Unreal Fest in Florida. There was a Corey who created Blue. he shared like this workflow of how he was able to get some alien looking characters. So that's what inspired me. Like, man, I want to be able to get that like fleshy looking, subsurface scattering kind of eye looking like that. So that's how you can get that using character creator over here. And so as I scroll up here, you can see that this has been applied to the head, but the body has not been applied and does not receive the setting just yet. But what is neat is the moment. So focus on the head first, make it as beautiful as you want. And when you're happy with it, then go and click on the body and watch what happens. Character Creator 5 is automatically going to apply the settings that you apply to the head all the way to the body. So now the guy, our alien, has taken like a shower of some kind, but he looks healthier. The atmosphere of Earth has not affected him too much, which is good. All right. So now, assuming that you're happy with the character, right? And you could have gone in here, for example, on the texture part of it and gone, for example, to the settings over here. Let's look at like the head itself. And here, there's so many other like cool things that you could do, like in terms of the skin, even the makeup itself. Like Skin Gen has so many features that you can add to the character. So if you had like a female alien character, you could add lipstick, for example. So that is one thing that I highly recommend, that you may need to invest in Skin Gen, because it gives you so many other options that you can add, like decals, right? So you can add a decal to the head, the arm, and leg. For example, if you had like maybe a QR code, if you want to find my body on Earth, scan this code kind of thing. That's where Skin Gen comes in, right? So right now, I'll leave that to you. Have fun with the character. But what I want to do is add some clothing. So I'll go to the content tab over here and the template. I'll go to a pack, and I'm going to look for the clothing over here. And what I used was this set. It was the rescue team set. So each of these characters has a different asset that I was interested in. So let's go back up here to the rescue set. And for example, this guy right here, Elroy, when I open the set, he has these pants and shoes. So let's give him these pants and see what it looks like. Oh, sorry, need to select the character. Applying will deactivate current. That's okay. I forgot that. Sorry, guys. You need to deactivate the skin editor over here before you can apply clothing. I got too excited. I took the alien. I was trying to take the alien out of the dressing room too quick. Put him in the dressing room too quick. All right. So it's going to apply the clothing. All right. So there's the outfit. And this is not going to look perfect, but it's just giving you an idea of what the character can look like. And we're going to give him this top. So let's select the character, give him this top. And that's the neat thing about the Reallusion Marketplace assets, is that as long as your character is converted to a CC3 plus character, that's a tongue twister, CC3 plus character, you'll be able to apply different types of clothing. Now, right now, this shirt might be too big, and I can go through and try to conform it, but it's better. Right now, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm just going to keep adding for the sake of time, and we can give him some shoes. But look what's neat is that if you notice the character that I'm using right now, let me zoom back. No, zoom in a little bit so you can see the legs. So those are the pants that I gave him. And when I put the leg in there, there was like the knee was showing. So I was able to paint a little bit of that. But you can also see that he has a bionic arm. And his fingers, he has 3 fingers, or rather 4 fingers rather. But CC5 was able to take a CC3 plus character that had 5 fingers and applied this character to have the 4 fingers, just like he was in Daz Studio. So let's go back to CC5 CC5 over here. If I turn around, you can actually see, let me turn on this auxiliary lighting, zoom in. You can actually see that he has 4 fingers, right? That's the neat thing about CC5. So we have that. And let me actually go back a little bit so you can see what I was talking about. We're going to look at another character that has a bionic arm that we can use, this one. So this is Marco, if I open him up. So there's some Marco forearms over here. So let's try, I think, was it Marco with the bionic arm? Might be another character. Let me go back. So let's see. Yes. So Liam has a bionic arm. This is right here. So I'm going to double click on the bionic arm. And look, there's also bionic leg. So this is why you have fun with the character before you get to the Unreal Engine. So I was able to apply the bionic arm right there. So I think it might even be prudent to use this shot, which actually reveals the bionic arm. So you would have to do some editing for the shot that was on there that we used. So we'll go to the scene over here. We just select this and delete it. But you may not even need to delete that if you want to switch out the outfit in the Unreal Engine. So you can keep it and export it together and then just change the visibility in the Unreal Engine. But for now, I'm going to delete that so you can actually see how this bionic arm had 5 fingers, but CC5 has made it 4 fingers. That is what's really, really cool about CC5. So we'll give him some puns, go back to the content, and we'll give him these puns, same ones that the character has in the video or in the Unreal Engine right now. So those are the puns. And that's the part that I was referring to. Like when you see something like this, simply go to the scene over here, select the puns, just make sure that you're working with the right thing. And let's go to Edit Mesh over here. And we're gonna use the sculpting tools in CC5 rather, called Character Creator 5. And we're gonna pull some of these vertices up. So there's a push and there's pull, and then you can also smooth. So we can just tap a little bit and make it, don't put the intensity to be too high because it will just blow it up. So just go through and fix that easily like that. And then in the edit mesh, and that leg is fixed, right? So any like clothing that is giving you some issues, do the same thing. Just select it over here, just paint, use the sculpt tools and under the edit mesh, and you'll be able to fix the character really well. So, and if we want to give him, so over here, let me see if this leg is okay. That's fine. But let's give him the bionic leg, this one right here. So check this out. You see how he has 3 toes, right? It's going to do an amazing job with that. So it just covers it all the way and actually hides that mesh really well. So there we go. So that part right here, if you don't want the toes to show up, you can actually go into the scene, go on to the character right here, go to edit mesh over here, and we're gonna select the faces, click on select faces, and then drag and select all those faces, and then hide those faces. So when you export it, it can actually delete those faces. But if you don't want the bionic leg, you can also leave it like that. So we have our character ready. I think you can click out of edit mesh. So there's so many other cool things that you can do here. You can edit, but I'm just pointing out things that you are able to do inside of Character Creator 5. So give your character again personality so that your streaming session for your VTuber, you know, gives your users something to look forward to. When you're ready, save this character as an avatar. So we can go to custom over here. And usually what I do is I try to arrange my actors. So make sure you click on actor, character, should be in the custom tab. And maybe I just arrange it according to the year, because sometimes there's some models that I've done in the past that need to be fixed. So that's, I can always go back and look at. So right now under CC in the 2025 folder, I can right click over here and create a new folder, and I'll call this VTuber. All right, we're at 9:37. All right, you want to leave enough room for Q&A. So we have a VTuber folder over here, double click it and select this character. And let me turn, I think I turned on the, yeah, that auxiliary lighting. This is great if you're just wanting to see the model clearly without all the shading and the lighting. So the character is selected, and let me move this out of the way, put it over here. So select the character, make sure that you are in the right folder, in the actor tab, character, custom tab, click on the folder, make sure this is where you want to be, save, and give it a name. So VTuber 01, click OK. And character creator 5 is gonna save this model over here. And you can actually now zoom into the face real close and right click over here and generate a thumbnail. So we just say save thumbnail. Sorry. Right click, capture thumbnail, not save, capture thumbnail. And now you can see, and also if you right click over here, toggle view, you can enable either large thumbnail or extra large thumbnail. So it's much easier for you to see your character, because this character you can then load inside of iClone if you don't have a motion capture suit, right? So right now the character doesn't have a like full body mockup, but if you wanted to add mockup to this character, like maybe to idle, then you can apply the mockup inside of iClone, just like you see like right here. So I've created this like sequence, it's looped, and if I play it back, you can see the character. There's no facial animation. I'm focusing on just him like talking. So this animation can then be used on the sequencer while it's playing back and for you while you're streaming. So it will look like you have a motion capture suit on, but you really don't. So that's where it comes handy. But if you have a mockup suit, then you can definitely do the full body mockup experience where you can talk, gesture with your hands, and add a little bit more interactivity with your character. So it's not just the head and not just the face. You'll be able to do the full body, right? So 9:39, need to rush a little bit. All right, let's go back over here. So this character right now is a CC3 plus character, and you can actually see it over here, type CC3 plus. So if I try to export this model and send it to the Unreal Engine, it is not going to work with the MetaHuman animator and with LiveLink. So you need to go to the facial profile over here and click on Edit Expressions. And over here where it says Expression CC4 Extended, make sure you click on that and enable CC5 HD. But this will not show up if you don't have it installed in your Real Illusion Hub. So this HD face control over here is important, because that's what's going to make it possible for you to import MetaHuman animation data inside of CC5 and iClone as well. So make sure you include. So this is free. If you have a license with iClone and CC4, you get this plugin free, right? And that has the same like Facebook that you see with the MetaHumans. It's compatible with that, and that's why this step is extremely important. Make sure you install that. And so click on that and apply. And one thing that you're going to notice, there will be a bunch of new things that are going to be added over here. If you have a custom character that is rigged in CC3 or CC4, and you've imported it into CC5, you need to convert that first from a standard to CC4 extended before you can apply CC5 HD. Just so you're clear about that. I had to do that for the Adventures of Nkosa and Nancha characters. so I could use them inside of the Unreal Engine as well. So we have CC5 selected, click on apply. Changing the profile is irreversible. So would you like to save? For now, I don't, but make sure you save in case you want to go back to that. So click no. And this is going to change from CC4 to CC5 HD. So just give it a few seconds, again, depending on the power of your computer, because this part of it is doing a lot. So one thing that has been added, there are corrective pauses in here, which means that as the character is moving, like if you're blinking or if your mouth is moving, new things are being added onto, like the mouth sticky, like the blend. There's so many other things that are being added over here. And you can actually, if you drop this down, you can see the corrective regions that have been added, the brows. All of these are working together with the new CC5 system to make sure that this is going to work really well with the MetaHuman animator and the MetaHuman rig, the facial rig. So once that is done, just click out of it, click on Edit Expressions over here, and now you're safe. So in the Content tab, so that's why I saved this model right here, but I'm going to copy. I'm going to click on the name twice, Control C. Now I'm going to save a version of this that has the HD, the CC5 HD profile. Click on that, Control V. I'm going to make it number 2. Click OK, because this is the one that I need to use when I'm importing MetaHuman animation data. And I'm going to change the camera angle a little bit so that I know they're different, and pause it as I want. Right click over here, and I'm going to capture thumbnail. So now I have those two. And actually it helps to actually maybe change the name to indicate that it has the HD profile. So there's no confusion whatsoever. So our character is now ready to be sent to the Unreal Engine to be able to use the MetaHuman animator on this character to do the facial animation. So make sure you save this character. But here's the thing, when you save the scene, it also saves the avatar. But when you save the avatar, it's almost like saving the scene, is that you can just double click on it. So for example, if I delete this character right here, I can go back over here and double click on him and click not, I don't want to save the scene, but I can bring that character back into CC5 and then export that. So whatever avatar that you save over here, you'll be able to reuse inside of CC5 and Character Creator 5 and iClone 8 as well. So wait for it to load. All right, now that this is ready, make sure that as you're exporting, so over here, the sub-D levels, I recommend that you drop down to sub-D 1, because sub-D 2, it's going to look great, right? And the one that I have right now in my scene is sub-D 2, but that's because my machine can handle that. And it takes a long time when the character is set to sub-D 2. So it's going to look great, but be patient. If you have the patience, then definitely export sub-D 2. But I recommend, if you want to just do a quick, again, stream, quick VTuber, then you're going to send the sub-D level 1. And that will be easier to import into the Unreal Engine. All right. So when you're ready, go to File over here, go to Export, go on FBX over here, click on Clothed Character, right? And then this is extremely important. Under the Target Tool preset, drop this down and select Unreal Engine UE5 Skeleton. That's the one that you need. And right now, we're just going to send the mesh. We're not sending animation. And under the HD character, again, export as sub-D1. Now, if you set to sub-D2 over here, then you export sub-D2. But again, I remind you, sub-D2 takes a long time to import into the Unreal Engine, just so you're clear about that. So if you're willing to wait, maybe go grab a cup of tea, play a golf game, whatever, shoot basket, play pickleball, but you'll be waiting for a while. So sub-D1 is what I recommend. You can embed the textures if you want. You don't need to. And then what else do I need to, I think these are the defaults really that need to be. The only thing that you need to change is up here. If there was motion capture data that was applied like an idle, for example, then you probably use that. So for example, let me close this. Right now, let me move this out of the way. If I play this character, there's an idle animation, right? And this idle animation is actually great for VTubing because it adds life to the character. So instead of just having the head here, I get the head movement, right? And I also get a little bit of the shoulders. But if you want a little bit of the body, if you don't have a motion capture suit, then I recommend you include this animation data when you're exporting, because that will give you a starting point for you to use inside of the Unreal Engine, right? So let me pause that, go to File, let's go to Export, go to FBX, close character over here. Again, Unreal Engine UE5 skeleton. And you know what's great about this is that there was a time when we would export like mockup data out of iClone and CC5, and the fingers would kind of be messed up once they got to the Unreal Engine. So this new profile fixes a lot of that and makes it much easier for you to send data from here, but also makes it much more compatible with the MetaHuman rigs in the Unreal Engine. So once you're done, click Export, and then you're going to be able to import. Now, this particular part of it, again, is this process is a little bit longer because we're at 9:48. I want to leave enough time for Q&A, but when you're ready, just click Export. And when that file is imported into the Unreal Engine, let's go back over here. It's going to look something like this. So create a folder where your characters are going to be. So let me see. I put my characters in here, and I created a CC folder. And in here, I have the Daz character and the VTuber. And I said version 1, right? So you simply just click and create a new, right click and create a new folder. And then you're able to name it and then import the character in here. You can use this right here to import like so, and then find the FBX file that you exported out of Character Creator 5 or iClone, right? Import that, and then it's gonna put the model in here. The file that you're gonna need to look for is this right here, the skeletal mesh. It has like a pinkish purple like coloring. You can see the different colorings of it. Look for this one. It's called skeletal mesh, and it has a pink or purple coloring. Right click on it, and this right here is important. Create CC control rig. If you don't have that plugin installed, let's see, let's go back to over here to edit, go to plugins. Let's go to installed. Under my Revolution tab over here, these are 3 other things that you need to have installed, right? You need the character creator UE control rig version 1.1 and later. And then you need the character creator and iClone auto setup version 1.41 and later, right? And iClone Live link, this is for if you really want to drive the character directly from iClone, but really for the VTubing, these are the most important ones: the character creator UE control rig and the character creator and iClone auto setup. This auto setup is what made my character look beautiful. It automatically converted the textures from character creator into textures that the Unreal Engine could display and for them to look really beautiful like this. Others, you would have to do it yourself one by one. Remember the 78 textures that we're talking about? So it'll be a long, long way for you to do. So this is going to save you, scratching your head, pulling your hair, and save you time as well. And make sure you also do the character creator UE control rig. And that rig right there is what makes it possible to add the functionality that supports the MetaHuman animator. So you right click on the skeletal mesh, click on this, create CC control rig. And when you click on that, it's going to go through a whole process. But eventually, it's going to create this folder right here. And in this folder, if I open it, these are the files that it adds. And this right here, this head that you see can actually be swapped out with a MetaHuman head. and the body can also be swapped out with a MetaHuman head. But what you need to use in the scene right here is this BP right here. Okay, now this is where I do like, let me see if I can quickly demonstrate like how this works, right? I'm gonna drag and drop this character here. And I'm gonna go to the details panel on this side and click on that so that it can go to the same position. And let me move him a little bit out of the way over here so that we can see him. 952. Okay. All right. So that's this BP right here. If you scroll over here to the right-hand side in the details panel, what you see, it says Reallusion, use MetaHuman Animator. So if I click on that and then drop down over here, this is going to be looking for the streaming component from Live Link, right? So I'm going to bring up Live Link real quick over here. And let me delete the one that we have right now. So let's go ahead and delete that. And there's nothing right now. So even the one that was set up is not moving. So click on Add Source real quick. The way you find Live Link again, if I didn't mention, is again, you go to Window over here, go to Virtual Production, and then click on Live Link, and it will bring up Live Link over here. So click on Add Source, and then MetaHuman Video. This used not to be here in Live Link. So click on MetaHuman Video. Click on MetaHuman Video once it's added. Then under Video Device, look for your webcam. Mine is a 1080 Pro Stream. It's a Logi. Click on that. And then the video format is going to be that. So if you have like 30 frames per second, if your camera supports that, it will be listed here. And so I highly, again, like I said, make sure that you have something that is at least 30 frames per second or higher. 60 frames is preferred. Even if the viewport is 1280 by 720, it's going to be much better if you have a 60 frame per second camera. I'm going to give it a name. VTuber, could be any name. Solo 2. Press enter. Oh, say 2, not at 2. Press enter and then click on connect. And it found me. So right here, you can see if I click on it, under the monitor image, I can drop down and you can see Solomon over here. So again, like I said before, make sure you're close to the camera. And if you go too far back, it will warn you the subject is too far from camera. If you get close enough, it's gonna, so it's better that you're closer to your webcam. And then if you don't want to see yourself, you can turn it off. It will still work, but it's easier for you to frame, see how yourself, it's easier to frame yourself when you can see that, right? And then something else. So you can see here, I'm getting 22 frames per second, which is fairly good. If I was like 60 frames per second, I'll be really, really happy. So now that it's green and it's streaming, you can minimize this. This is our new character we've just imported. We've enabled use MetaHuman Animator, and then down at the bottom, we can select VTuber Solo. Boom. So this new character is also using the MetaHuman Animator, and the head is able to move like that, right? And under here, this is something that I was able to pick up in the it is the animation fellowship that Epic Games was so gracious to extend to us. So under the outliner, usually you have just your typical lighting set. I'm using the MetaHuman lighting sample project. But what you can do under the levels, you can actually load new levels in here. So you can change from downtown to something like this. So if you're like streaming, then your character is going to look like, so if I press F11 and then go back to OBS over here, so you can see the character right there in that window. So this particular window, I was able to add as a new video capture device, right? So let me turn that off so I can show you. If I click on the plus sign over here and then click on video capture device, you can give it a name like my face, click OK. And then instead of a device, you can select the OBS virtual camera over here. And there it is. Click OK. And now you can scale this because I'm assuming back here is your game, right? So you can actually have like something in the background playing. And here, right now, let me see if I can bring it over here, scroll down. Okay. You can see there are red bars all around, and you can still see a little bit of information over here. So if you hold down the Alt key, you can crop the window, hold down Alt, drag to the left or right, hold down Alt, drag to the top, hold Alt, and then you're able to frame your character, getting rid of any information that you don't need. And there you have a window that then you can live stream and do like a VTubing thing like that. So let me, I think, hand this over to Kai. I hope this was helpful, guys. So over to you, Kai.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that, Solomon. That's probably one of the coolest demos I've ever seen for CC5. Really, really well done.
Thank you so much.
I actually learned a lot myself too, so that's pretty cool. It's always good when I learn things.
Awesome.
All right, so let's start some Q&A then, guys. We're gonna answer your questions now. If you have some questions, put them in the Q&A panel, and I will get to those right now. Okay, first question comes from David. Nice to see you again, David. With your workflow, can you use a voice model to sound like a different character live at a VTuber? Have you ever tried that?
I mean, if you're thinking about like AI voice changes, right now, I don't know if there's a plugin yet for OBS, but if you find a plugin that can work with OBS, then absolutely, right? Because right now, this is my microphone. You could essentially just maybe use like an external device that can change that. Or you could even just do yourself. I want to be like, speak like an alien or kind of like that, you know?
Yeah, give me some voice acting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, good question, David. I've actually never thought about that myself. So
Yeah.
yeah, like Solomon said, I might want to use an external hardware device like a synthesizer type thing changing my voice. But yeah, interesting. We'll have to look into that further. Question from DW. What hardware requirements are needed for this setup? For example, VRAM, RAM, CPU, cameras. What do you have
Yes.
on your system, Solomon?
All right. So my system, let me see, let me bring up my rig. No, my system, I don't even want you to compare to my system because it's not fair. But minimum, at least you need 16 gigabytes of RAM, right? And a 3090 card will be great, right? If you have a 4090, 5090, the graphics card matters a lot. So if you have 48, right now my graphics card has 48 gigabytes on the VRAM. So that makes a big difference. That's why I'm able to do cinematic display right now, because if not, then I will just use high in the scalability settings.
And that's all in one card, the 48 gigabytes?
Yeah, it's one card. It's a 6000 ADA.
Okay,
card.
gotcha. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm a poor man. I only have a 4090.
I'll bring one from space for you.
Sounds good. All right. Next question is from Brian Jensen. Any specific Daz video version constraints?
In terms of like constraints for video?
I think it was maybe the Daz Studio version. I don't think there's a version constraint, but you did mention that you have to have a G8 or a G9 Genesis.
Oh, yeah. So
yeah.
for the model itself needs to be a Genesis 8 or Genesis 9 character for the transformer tool to work. Yes. Yeah. But in terms of the version of Daz Studio, it's preferable to use the newest version because they've fixed a lot of bugs in there, especially the FBX export. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Good to know. Rodney says, RIP my 3078 gigabytes. Yeah, we all have to upgrade once in a while.
Yes.
Next question is from Jack X. Does it have to be from Daz, or can you use a character already made in CC? And you can already use it. You can make a CC character, no problem. Yeah.
As long as the character is made is a CC3 plus character, and that's the mesh that you use to create your model, then it's gonna work.
Yeah. Oleg mentions here in the chat, good point. You can also use G3 and G3 same skeleton. So the Daz transformer uses G3 as well. So if you want to use a G3 character.
Yeah, 4090 will work, but again, you may not be able to do cinematic mode, because cinematic is what makes it look so beautiful.
Mm.
But you may trade off with the quality with performance.
Right on. So save your money there.
Yeah.
All right. Oleg asks, can we export 8K textures and normals from Daz? Because programs like Wrap can convert 3D scans into Daz skin, but not into CC3 plus.
Yes, so I don't think there are 8K maps that coming in from DAS. Most of them are 4096, unless if you find a model that has that kind of texture style. Now, excuse me, what you could do is take that 4096 and maybe use an upscaler and make it 8K, and it'll be able to apply to it. Yeah.
Yep. Upscalers are always a choice. There's actually some 8K textures included in CC5 now with the two main characters. So you can check those out in the materials folder for anyone who's interested. Next question comes from NDK Okay. I'm wondering if you use a CC5 character, will you also bake? Will you have to also bake?
If you use a CC5 character, like
Mhm.
using when you're doing the transformer tool, is that the question?
I'm not sure, NDK. Maybe you can clarify a little bit. If you use a CC5 character, will you also have to bake? Whenever you export to FBX, it's baking your textures. So you
No,
can't.
so the baking happens during the transformation of the DAS character into a CC3 plus character.
Mhm.
After that, if you need, like when you're using skin gen, right? That's when you can appraise your model from like 2048 to 4096, and you can bake those high resolution models onto your character with the skin gen detailing.
Okay, I think he says yes in the chat here, so I think that answered the question, hopefully. Okay, we got anonymous attendee. Do we need to buy a Reallusion Live Link plugin for this to work? Yes, you do need the Reallusion Live Link plugin to purchase that for use with Unreal. Although there is Unreal Auto Setup, where you can
Yes.
actually just import your character, and you don't need the Live Link in that case.
Yeah.
So,
So for the setup that I used, the demo that I did, I didn't use Live Link. It
mhm.
was all I importing the FBX into the Unreal Engine, then using the control rig to be able to apply that information to support the MetaHuman animator.
Yeah, good point. Solomon's workflow, he didn't need to purchase the Live Link plugin for Unreal with iClone. He just did it all in Unreal. So, good to know. Okay, another question from NDK. How would the Rococo suit fit in?
Oh, yeah. So right now, when you see me moving my head, this is all driven by the webcam information and the head rotation. But if I wanted to move my arms and the walk around and maybe tour my studio with you guys following, then I'll use the motion capture suit live. Yeah. So it could be Rococo, it could be Perception Neuron, it could be Xsense.
For some reason, I just read that as how would I fit in the Rococo suit? It's a,
Oh.
well, yeah, they don't make extra large size for guys
Yeah,
like me.
but yeah, but I mean, I'm telling you, one day I got an XN suit. I think I ordered the wrong size, and
Oh.
they had sent it to me for just testing. I had to wait until I'd lost like 10 pounds before I could get into that thing. So
Yeah, it's a struggle for all of us.
yeah.
All right. Good question. Oleg, next question here. More of CC5 to Unreal Cloth transfer question. For Unreal character customization plugin, how do you properly export, for instance, a high heel shoes or platform shoe so it does not screw up the other cloth application due to a changing height of the character? Um, do you know about that, Solomon, or?
I think depending on the plugin that you're using,
Mhm.
right? Uh, 3D Draper does a really good job if you're going to use like real-time clothing. So as long as the model has the shoes already on the character, then the real-time clothing is just going to flow right on top of it because it's a collision. The whole mesh is looked at as a collision object. But I don't know if I can get into that in this call right now. It's a little bit more involved in technical.
Yeah, that's opening a can of worms there. I know, Oleg, there's some settings within Character Creator where you can click and it
Yeah.
adjust automatically the height for the high heels and stuff. So let's go to the next question here for now. Onkagaletse. Hi, the bionic replacements you were adding, can you control where they are added, or are they just specific geographs?
Yeah, so the way that it's designed, it's almost like an accessory. So when the character wears it, it automatically, if the designer or the artist that created it was purposeful in thinking that it's going to hide the leg so that the character looks like maybe they lost a leg in combat or something, then it's going to hide the leg and replace it with that mesh. Yeah.
Okay. He meant geometry grafts. I think that we got that. Not geographs, geometry grafts.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that answered the question though, anyways. Hopefully. Okay, so yep, geometry graphs. All right, Tony Rivera. If you add an idle animation in sequencer, do you still retain the live head rotation and translation tracking from MetaHuman Animator?
Yes. Yes, you do.
Okay. Simple enough. Hopefully that answers your question there, Tony. Helene asks, so Unreal moves the character and OBS puts it on your screen.
Yeah, so I am moving in. So the idea is to take advantage of the live streaming inside of the Unreal Engine, because it's one of the best platforms that you can use for like a character to showcase the textures, the animation in real time rendering without pre-rendering, right? And so as long as that is working, then OBS is able to take the screen, apply to the virtual camera, and then that becomes accessible to Zoom or to Microsoft Meeting. In this case, it's Broadcast Studio.
Good stuff. Okay, hopefully that answered your question there, Helene. Another question from NDK NKD. Where is the camera connecting to, the virtual camera, and where does the NVIDIA broadcaster? So maybe just go quickly over the connection between the apps you used again. For
yeah, let me share my screen one more time.
Sure.
Real quick. Entire screen, share. All right, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so right now I've pressed F11, right, to give the look, like to get the full screen, right? So this is the animation that is running real time in the Unreal Engine. Then in OBS over here, I've actually assigned that to a game. Like this is if you have over here, you can actually press plus over here, and it can be a video capture device, right? And that video capture device is then gonna look for, so first what we did was over here on OBS, rather on NVIDIA Broadcast, is we are using OBS virtual camera to push out the video, but the video source itself, again, is using that source. Let me see if I can explain it better. This is, I'm gonna stop the virtual camera over here. In the virtual camera, in OBS virtual camera, it has a settings tab right here. And in that, if you click on that, it asks you for the source over here, right? It could be a program, it could be a preview, it could be a scene, but it can be a source. So the source then is a game capture. And OBS automatically understands when you have these scenes set up, that game capture is assigned to the scene in the Unreal Engine, right? So this is what it looks like. Let me go ahead and start that. So if I add a scene over here and I say game capture, right, over here, and I give it, I will just say Unreal, for example, Unreal 3, click OK. And then it's going to ask you, capture any full screen application, or do you want to capture a specific window, right? So kind of specific window, and then the window down here, this is where you look for the program that is running in the background, right? And let me see, Unreal Engine live link, you can see the message, UE, and all of that. But here it is, the editor right here, Cinematic CC5 Unreal Editor. And that becomes, that's how you assign it to that. And then click OK, right? So that is how you assign the game capture inside over here so that it is a source. As long as you say game capture under the output selection, that becomes the output. And then this right here, my face, becomes again, it's using properties, it's using OBS virtual camera, and OBS virtual camera is using NVIDIA broadcast over here. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I think that's pretty detailed. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's almost like step by step. Like you have to first set up what the game capture is before you can enable the virtual camera. Because once the virtual camera knows what it's looking for, then you can assign it to NVIDIA broadcast. NVIDIA broadcast is going to be the key right here, because NVIDIA broadcast becomes a webcam in a sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's okay with it in the chat, so looks like it's okay. Thanks for that explanation. Pretty good stuff. Tim's asking if you do personal tutorials at all. So...
yeah, on my YouTube channel, yes.
Okay. Guillaume asks, does it only work with biped characters?
So if the character was a Daz Studio, a Daz 3D character that had 4 legs but was made using a Genesis 8 or Genesis 9 model, then it will work.
Okay. Yeah, it's we always get the questions about quadrupeds and like octopuses and stuff like that. So
yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, it'd be super fun. Next question from Onka Galizia again. Have you tried the transformer using CC5 and G9? G9 for me currently crashes before baking characters.
So make sure that your subdivision level is either 0 or 1, because if it's set to 2, then it's gonna crash it.
Yeah, subdivision 2 level 2 takes ages to bake. Yeah. Okay, anonymous attendee, this is an amazing webinar. Thanks for that. Will RL support more anime characters in the future? I mean, like high quality, non-photorealistic characters. VTubing is a niche for anime characters. That's a good question. I can't really answer that specifically. That's our content team, their product map for the next year or so. But yeah, we also have like lots of developers who create their own like anime-based characters and sell them on the content store. So I would take a look at those. I know there's a lot of anime type stylized characters we can check out there. So in terms of the Reallusion team specifically, I'm not sure. I can't confirm that, but search for it in the content store. There's tons of stuff there.
Awesome.
All right, Jack X. Can you change the idle animations in Unreal like you can in Reallusion?
Yeah, you can actually do that. Yeah,
pretty much any.
You have to use, you gotta use the sequencer to switch out the idle animation.
Right. Alrighty. Couple more questions. One from Bobby Linder. Any issue with imported hair components and live performance?
Yes. Yeah, anytime that you're gonna be a VTuber and you're gonna be streaming live, it's recommended that you turn off hairs. You know, even if it's a meta-human, those vellus hairs, you gotta turn those off, man. They're resource intensive.
Yeah, and they can flip out a lot too.
Yeah. So maybe you would have to convert the hair into hair cards. Those perform much better during a live stream.
Yeah, absolutely. Good suggestion. So hopefully that answered your question there, Bobby. Another question from Jack X. To be clear, in the animator, Reallusion animator, can you add and delete pre-made animations and switch between them? Can you do the same in Unreal? Yeah, you can do the same thing, Jack X. So no worries. We just mentioned about the sequencer. So what are the next couple more questions? Another one from NDK, very inquisitive fellow. Meta now has the VTube. Does this process work in there?
So you mean in your VR headset?
I'm thinking VTuber, he says. Meta now has the VTuber. I
Yeah,
have
so the
never.
way it's yeah, because with with virtual reality, it's really drive using you have your own character that you create using your VR headset that's assigned to your account, but that wouldn't translate here because we don't have yet an API that makes it possible to get the animation, facial animation data from the headset into the MetaHuman yet. Maybe a developer will do that and come out with a result. That would be great because I've seen some really awesome, facial animation coming from those avatars.
Very cool. Okay, another question from anonymous attendee. Kind of a related question. Is there a good way to learn how to make CC5 compatible hair in Blender? CC5 compatible hair in Blender. I know there's I've seen tutorials on YouTube for that. I would have to search it and get back to you on that, but I know I've seen specific tutorials that talk about creating hair in Blender for use with CC5 characters. So CC4 characters it was at that time, but yeah, I wouldn't be able to find it right now. But Google it on YouTube and you should be able to find it. Arukaito in the chat mentions here that Hair Cards plugin works for CC5, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Oleg, last question here. Will there be a webinar about your interactive agent? Probably. I think that if you want to learn more about the interactive agent, let us know in the feedback form. We're more than happy to do webinars on that. I presented the interactive agent at SIGGRAPH back in August there, and we got really positive response to it. So yeah, we'd be happy to do a webinar for that if there's enough demand for it. If anyone wants to learn
Mhm.
about it, yeah, let us know.
Yeah,
Okay, I think we're pretty much done for the Q&A. That's awesome. That's a pretty quick one.
yeah,
Oh, Hugo mentions here, yes, the recording will be shared. So for everyone who's curious, we're sending you the recording after this via email. We'll also send the survey along with that as well.
yeah. And I
Cool.
can't wait to see what you guys make. CC5 is incredible. The new geometry is
Oh,
amazing that you can able to convert your different characters and model it for cartoon characters, realistic characters. And then it doesn't have to be a Daz Studio character, by the way, guys. It can still be your custom character created with a CC3 plus character.
yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I've been messing around with it over the last few weeks here, so getting used to the new features. Cool. All right. So Solomon, thank you so much. That was an awesome presentation. I think everyone's really happy with that. Some really innovative approaches there to the VTuber broadcasting. So yeah, you guys, do you want to maybe tell everyone about your channel or your
Oh
YouTube
yeah.
channel? We could.
So yes. So if you guys have an opportunity, again, I have additional tutorials on my YouTube channel, and I'm actually going to be making another one, a more in-depth tutorial of how I made this character. I go a little bit more in depth and how I was able to get a little bit more of the wrinkles. There's a Python code that you have to run, a script that you have to run to do that. I'll make sure I share all of that. But find me on Solomon Jagwe on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just getting it ready. Just finding it right now. I'm going to
Yeah.
put the link to his YouTube channel in the chat, guys, just so you have it.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone that, especially those who stayed up very late. Thank you to everyone that attended here. I love, talking about characters and character animation because it's all about storytelling. Even if it's a VTuber, you are essentially telling a story, regardless of if you're talking about a game or a movie, or even just talking about your own content. You could be drawing literally and be VTubing, like the camera could be pointed down on your drawing tab while you're creating, or could be somewhere traveling, a travel vlog or something like that. So the key is to make content that is unique because the idea is you want to grow an audience. And I know AI is the rage right now, but I truly believe that if you build your audience, those who have an audience, I think they're the ones who are going to be able to rise above this tide of AI, because eventually everyone is going to be able to create with AI with a prompt, right?
Hmm.
So what's going to separate you except you being unique and having an audience? Because if you have an audience, then you can serve the content that you like or you want. So start a YouTube channel, start a Facebook page, start a TikTok channel. I remember I said this year on TikTok, my son was trying to tell me that you need to get on TikTok. I was like, man, I hate TikTok. Why blind? And so I had like 400 followers at the beginning of this year. My son encouraged me. So as I speak, I have 9,000 followers on TikTok. So you
Wow.
can do it. You can put in the effort. Yeah.
That's awesome. Just for anyone who's listening as well, I did want to mention that we're going to have Solomon back in November for another
Mhm.
webinar. So we'll see him again. I think there's lots of
Yeah.
positive feedback. Everyone's pretty hyped about your demo here. So I'm
Thank you
sure.
so much,
Yeah,
guys. I appreciate all the kind words. So next time we're going to be talking about filmmaking. It's going to be fun. Yeah. Making short films.
awesome. Well, I guess thanks so much everyone again for attending. Like Solomon said, I know some of you were up till all hours of the night watching this webinar. So thanks for
Yeah.
sticking with us. And yeah, so we'll sign off. Anything you wanted to end off with, Solomon?
Yes. Man, guys, like I was talking about the AI thing, I'm encouraging you, please don't stop creating, right? Don't stop creating whatever you do. Like, I mean, think about this character, set it off as like a simple alien character, but I was able to give it personality, and it boils down to that ability to tell stories. We all have stories. AI doesn't have the lived experiences that we have. No AI can be you. So take those experiences wherever you are, whichever country that you might be, whichever culture you're coming from, and use those experiences to tell your story from your perspective. Because you, both of us could be looking at the same thing, but you're having a totally different experience. But if you use AI, everyone's going to be doing the same thing, at some point. And that you don't want AI slop. Now, that doesn't stop you from experimenting. I encourage you to experiment with AI to see where these tools are headed and even to know how you can compete. But don't stop creating from your perspective of the story that you have and the experiences that you have in the region that you are. So never give up, guys.
Awesome advice. Yeah, I think like for me, AI is just kind of a tool. Don't use it for your whole production. You can use it as a tool to help you along, but don't let it replace your creativity and your stories. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think we'll sign off then. So thank you
Yeah.
so much again, Solomon, for being with us. Maybe you'll look different next time that we do the
Oh
webinar in,
yeah.
in November. So
I well, most definitely. I come in peace.
sounds good. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Thanks everyone so much. Make sure you fill out that survey. We'll send the video link out to you later on, and this will be posted on YouTube as well, so you can check it out there. So lovely to have you guys all here again, and we will see you in the next one later this month. And we'll say adios from Japan. Take care, guys.
Bye. Adios. Bye then.